Behind the radiant legacy of The Sound of Music, a timeless musical cherished by millions around the world, could there have been another truth that we somehow overlooked? Before leaving this world, Christopher Plummer chose to break his silence with a surprising confession about the co-star whose name would forever be linked with his own, Julie Andrews. What he left behind was not merely a revelation, but the final piece of a puzzle that would forever change the way we view their legendary relationship. In the summer of 1964, beneath the lush green landscapes of Salzburg, Austria, two artistic souls unexpectedly entered each other's orbit, unaware that they were about to create one of the most legendary chapters in cinematic history. As filming for The Sound of Music began, Christopher Plummer, a classically trained stage actor, proud, sophisticated, and somewhat skeptical, found himself working alongside Julie Andrews, a rising star whose optimism shone as brightly as sunlight itself. The contrast between them was striking. Plummer, with the demanding standards of a perfectionist artist, initially viewed the film's script with little enthusiasm. To him, it seemed overly sweet and idealistic. Julie, by contrast, embodied professionalism, carrying within her a rare blend of positive energy and grace. Many assumed this combination would result in a distant and purely professional collaboration. Yet history took a remarkable turn. From their earliest rehearsals, an almost inexplicable chemistry emerged between them. It was not the fleeting attraction of youth, but a profound connection that left members of the production team astonished. They seemed to understand one another without words, bringing scenes to life in ways that surpassed anything written on the page. Their connection felt so natural that many crew members believed they were kindred spirits who had somehow known each other long before they met. Once the cameras began rolling, their differences blended into a perfect harmony. Christopher's dry wit and subtle sarcasm complemented Julie's warmth and optimism. They were not merely portraying Captain Von Trapp and Maria. They truly inhabited those characters, creating a level of emotional authenticity that would later become the very soul of the film's enduring appeal. Those days in Salzburg were more than the production of a motion picture. They marked the beginning of an invisible bond. As the cameras captured their first scenes together, neither could have imagined that they were stepping into a delicate space where performance and genuine emotion would become increasingly difficult to separate. On the set of The Sound of Music, the boundary between fiction and reality gradually began to blur. The most memorable example was the ballroom dance sequence, the iconic moment when Captain Von Trapp's gaze meets Maria's. Years later, Christopher Plummer admitted that his heart genuinely skipped a beat during that scene. The emotions that surfaced were so powerful that they startled even him. It was no longer simply the craft of acting. It was a sincere emotional response that left the famously skeptical actor unexpectedly unsettled. The moments behind the camera only deepened their connection. When the director called cut, they often found themselves gathered around a piano tucked away in a corner of the set. Shared songs, playful teasing, and smiles filled with unspoken understanding became their private refuge amid the demands of production. Crew members would later recall seeing small gestures of care that seemed entirely natural. Julie gently adjusting Christopher's collar, or Christopher brushing away loose strands of hair from her forehead with a tenderness rarely seen between ordinary colleagues. The emotional peak of this connection found its way into the filming of Something Good Beneath the Gazebo. In that quiet setting, when Christopher looked into Julie's eyes, he saw more than a fellow performer. He saw complete sincerity, a purity that seemed capable of dissolving the emotional barriers he had spent years constructing. In that moment, the feelings of their characters transcended the boundaries of fiction and became something fragile, real, and unforgettable. Every frame preserved from those scenes became more than evidence of extraordinary acting. It became a record of an emotion that was never openly acknowledged. Those were days spent standing on the edge of an artistic infatuation, a place where both understood that one more step could change everything forever. And from that delicate uncertainty came the difficult realities of life, where invisible barriers emerged as walls separating two hearts quietly drawn toward one another. Yet life is not a film where every complication is resolved with a happy ending. Behind the stage lights and cinematic magic, reality arrived with undeniable force. Christopher Plummer was a married man at the time, carrying the responsibilities of a husband and father. Julie Andrews, despite enjoying the extraordinary success that was transforming her career, also faced the responsibilities of motherhood. Moral obligations and family commitments became invisible barriers that required both of them to remain grounded despite their growing feelings. Christopher Plummer, cautious and deeply reflective by nature, was haunted by the fear of causing irreversible damage. He understood that within the demanding world of entertainment, a meaningful friendship, a rare source of emotional support, was something fragile and precious. He often wondered whether a brief romance would be worth risking the loss of the finest creative partner he had ever known. He refused to allow Julie to become a painful memory or a lasting regret, and so he chose to keep his strongest emotions hidden deep within himself. Their decision was one of mutual understanding and restraint. Both were wise and mature enough to recognize that crossing the line could hurt innocent people around them and destroy the beauty of the relationship they already shared. It was a quiet sacrifice, an unspoken agreement to preserve their feelings in a space that would forever remain just beyond reach. As the final scenes were completed, they were forced to face their farewell. In that bittersweet moment, there were no dramatic declarations and no public displays of emotion. There was only a gentle, respectful kiss placed upon a hand, followed by a silence that lingered between them, a silent acknowledgement of a love that was never meant to fully blossom. They walked away in different directions, each carrying the memory of an unspoken romance that would remain one of the most beautiful chapters of their lives. Although reality separated them at that moment, the bond between them never truly disappeared. Instead, it quietly evolved into a profound friendship that endured through decades of personal and professional triumphs, challenges, and change. After the curtain fell on The Sound of Music, life carried Christopher Plummer and Julie Andrews along entirely different paths. Yet neither geographical distance nor the passage of time ever managed to weaken the invisible bond between them. Rather than exchanging passionate declarations of affection, they chose to express their devotion through witty postcards and handwritten letters, playfully signed by the devoted captain. Those words became a bridge that kept the quiet flame of their deep companionship burning amid the demands of everyday life. In Julie's eyes, Christopher was always a complex and multifaceted artist, yet she never allowed anyone else to focus on his flaws. She remained his most loyal friend, always ready to defend him against criticism regarding his perfectionism or famously demanding nature. To her, he was not the cold and distant star often portrayed by the media, but an artistic soul deserving of understanding. That unwavering respect became the foundation that allowed their relationship to endure for decades, long after others had drifted apart and faded from one another's lives. Whenever they reunited at red carpet events or prestigious award ceremonies, time seemed to stand still. Though their hair had turned silver and the years had left their marks around their eyes, they still greeted each other with warm, knowing embraces, moments that may have appeared ordinary to outsiders, but carried profound meaning for them both. It was the recognition shared by friends, colleagues, and perhaps something more. Two people who had once stood on the threshold of a great love. More than 40 years after the film's release, the way they held hands on stage still carried echoes of that long-ago dance in the grand ballroom of Salzburg. No longer restrained by hesitation or boundaries, they had become two souls who had weathered the highs and lows of an acting career together and found safe harbor in one another. Their relationship had evolved beyond the conventional definition of friendship. It was the harmony of two lives, a testament to a radiant chapter of youth they had built side by side. And it was precisely that enduring connection that paved the way for the final confession, a revelation that answered decades of speculation, doubt, and unspoken emotions that the charismatic actor had kept hidden throughout his life. As the spotlight of youth gradually faded and Christopher Plummer entered the later years of his life, the secrets he had carried within began to emerge. In interviews during his final years, when asked about his relationship with Julie Andrews, a connection the world had wondered about for more than half a century, Plummer no longer avoided the subject. He simply smiled, the smile of a man who had experienced life in all its complexity, and quietly said, "Everything that mattered happened." That response was not a blunt confirmation, but a remarkably elegant acknowledgement of the nature of their bond. He implied that although they never chose marriage or a highly public romance, what they shared, mutual understanding, deep connection, and profound appreciation, was everything that mattered, in creating a complete and meaningful love in its own unique form. To Plummer, Julie was more than a co-star. She was the heart of The Sound of Music, the woman who made a man known for his sharp edges and skepticism become gentler, kinder, and more compassionate. Before saying goodbye to the world, Plummer left behind some of his most heartfelt words. He openly stated that Julie Andrews was the dearest friend of his life. It was not a polite remark exchanged between colleagues, but a tribute to the woman who had shared some of his most extraordinary years. He regarded her presence in his life as a precious gift bestowed by fate, a light that never dimmed amid the uncertainties of his career. That final admission brought an end to years of speculation, while offering a new perspective on the life of this remarkable artist. He departed with the comfort of having fully expressed his feelings for his closest companion. Their connection was no longer confined by physical presence, but had become a lasting legend of friendship. A bond that required no label, yet possessed enough strength to warm the hearts of generations of audiences. Their lives, with all their highs and lows, ultimately settled into a sweet and lingering echo, proving that some connections transcend the ordinary definitions of both love and friendship. When Christopher Plummer passed away in 2021, he left behind not only a legacy of iconic performances, but also an irreplaceable void in the heart of the friend who had stood beside him for more than half a century. In her deep sorrow, Julie Andrews shared that the world had lost one of its finest actors, while she had forever lost a cherished confidant, the man who had helped create one of the most beautiful chapters in cinematic history. Her farewell was quiet, yet it carried the pain of someone who had shared memories with him that no one else could ever replace. The legacy they left behind was not built on scandals or public declarations of affection, but on the enduring proof that some connections need no label to survive the passage of time. They demonstrated that love is not always about possession or reaching the end of the road together through marriage. Sometimes the greatest love lies in choosing to remain in each other's lives as the best of friends, valuing one another through every stage of life and preserving the purest and most cherished image of each other in memory. The story of Christopher and Julie stands as a powerful reminder that the true beauty of a relationship is not found in a conventional ending, but in the journey two people create together. They chose to protect the purity of their bond, allowing both of them to look back with smiles and without regret. More than 60 years have passed since that summer in Salzburg, yet the film remains, and within it, the way they look at one another still carries an emotion that transcends time. Some connections never grow old, never fade, and never require an official title to become extraordinary. The story of Christopher Plummer and Julie Andrews will remain a beautiful legend, a gentle reminder to us all of the value of human connection, a bond that enabled them to move through life with dignity, fulfillment, and a sense of never being truly alone. The Sound of Music has undoubtedly left many unforgettable emotions in your heart. Which moment between Christopher and Julie impressed you the most? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you can continue exploring the deeply human stories hidden behind the screen.